Greetings and salutations, motorsport lovers, race fans, and others. Episode 59 of Waved Yellow. It's day number what of Dakar, Pisco to Pisco. Gary, Henny de Klerk, how's it, guys?
Hola, senor, senoritas, ladies, gentlemen, and all the other fast-minded thinking people out there that were so fast yesterday. I couldn't keep up with everybody last night. 500 rand, 200 rand.
Gary, what about the ones who not so fast-minded, but they like belters?
I didn't see any of those online, and you're not getting me caught into your swear job. Right? That is your problem. You deal with it.
Gary, there's only one thing I want to say to you today.
Yes.
Let me take my glasses off. Check my eyes. Focus.
Hold on. Maybe
Gary, you got to focus today.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll focus.
We are at Treasury One head office, global headquarters in the great metropolis of Pretoria in Linwood Road. It's my hometown. I love coming back to Pretoria. Henny de Klerk, you are the main man, the head honcho, the big wheel. You said earlier you don't want to be here, you'd rather be somewhere else.
Yeah, Dakar, Peru, sand, dust, yeah.
Let's just remind our what are they, Gary? Readers, listeners, fans? China's
Fans,
out there,
followers.
Brew. Henny won rookie at Dakar in 2017. 2018. You see, maths is important. You've got to get your numbers right. 2018, you're actually the reigning Dakar rookie champion.
Yes, yeah, and a South African.
How cool is that?
Yeah, what can I say,
So you probably you are the last South African, clearly, to have won something, won major honours at Dakar.
Yeah, it looks like it,
Did you enjoy it?
The Dakar. Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, it's if I can just see the current one, as the guys race, all those memories comes back, and Dakar is all about perseverance. Not to overextend yourself, not to overdrive. Try actually, because I think the biggest thing our normal racers do is we think at the Dakar is a race. It's not a race. It's an endurance. It's all about not racing. It's going against everything in your mind to say, I can go quick here, but you must say, let's not go quick. Let's be cautious. Let's make sure we get through this. Let's try not make a big mistake, because you're going to make mistakes. But if you can get away with a small mistake. If you get a big mistake, it's game over. So it's difficult in those circumstances. And you see cars and trucks coming past you, and see bikes, and then you just want to push. And that's why it's so important to have a good navigator. And Gerard was really phenomenal in that regard, keeping you back and to say, cool down, let's take it easy, let's just get through the section. And something Gerard and I did a lot, well, he taught me that discipline, is when we get into the dunes, we would look for another car, we'll catch up. I think we were quite good in the dunes. We'll catch up to another car in the dunes. And he said, Gerard knows almost all the cars there. He knows the top guys, he knows them very well. And he said, wait, this guy's good, he knows his stuff. Let's stay behind him, and then we'll go through, we'll drive 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 50 kilometers.
What's the advantage of following somebody, and how closely do you follow them, Henny?
Not too close, because if they have a mistake and they roll or they get stuck and you come over the dune, once you're over the dune, you're committed. There's no going back. So you don't follow them that close, you give them a big enough gap.
How big's that gap? Couple of 100 meters?
No, it could be 500 meters, to a kilometer. If it's very tricky, you want to get close, because then you can't, they disappear too quickly, and then you lose them.
So you're looking for them to go, a lot of us who haven't been in those massive dunes, they're not just straight up and down smooth. Just talk to us about that, or explain a little bit about how wobbly they are.
Yeah, I think what Peru's dunes are so technical versus the South African dunes or the Namibia dunes, which I know well and where we do all our training, is that because they're much higher, you get a much longer climb. And because they're higher, the wind factor is much bigger than in the Namibian dunes. It means you get a lot more holes and tricky stuff before you get to the top. So they'll make you climb a 300-meter dune, 400 meters. But to climb a 300, there's lots of small holes, climbing. So the car disappears and then it comes up, and then it disappears and then it comes up. So it's difficult once you sort of, because you're in and out. And once you remember, as soon as you get on the other side, you've got to go down again. It's roller coaster, up, down, up, down. And then which makes it doubly difficult is when you get to those difficult stages. Then there's a car stuck here, then you can't take that route because he's stuck. Then there's a bike stuck here. So you've got to go in between the competitors, finding your own route, trying not to get stuck. But what's nice about following someone, you follow them probably 500 meters. So you just want to, you keep a lookout. Where does he do? Does he dip? Then you know it's a slip face, and then you wait to see how quickly.
Sorry, just explain that again. The term you called it a slip face. What does that mean?
Okay, so the slip face is the angle of the dune where it falls.
That's the other side.
That's the other side. It's the soft side. So slip face is always, so the wind blows from north, and then east is the slip face. So the opposite direction of the wind blowing. That's always, and it's always 34 degrees. It's never more, it's never less. Sand always falls at 34 degrees. It could be high, but when it falls at 34 degrees.
So there's another part for we love maths and science on Waved Yellow. 34 degrees is what sand falls at. It's weird that it just is like that, eh?
Well, it could have been 35, but luckily it's not 90. Imagine if it was 90, Yeah. So it's 34, and a very important thing as well, you always want to take it not 90 degrees. You always take it at a 45-degree angle. Because if you miss it, and if you get it wrong, you can go, if you go over, so you go over, try 45 degrees always. As you go over, you turn into, so if you go over 45 like that, you always turn into it. As soon as you go over, you turn into it, because you want to move the weight.
So you turn downhill.
You turn downhill, always turn downhill, yes. Because if you turn next to it, because then you can roll like this. So you turn down, you want to get the nose down as quick as possible. And the other thing you learn in the dunes, there's always safety at the bottom. If you're in trouble, or if it's tight, you always go down, because there's safety down there. You can regroup, you can reverse, and then you can build up speed again. But as soon as you're in a big dune belt, you always go down, and then you can regroup, and then you can get out again.
I'm learning stuff, man. This is so cool. Gary, you were...
Yeah, the big boy we were talking about yesterday, Reggie Roots, is online. I've got a question for Reggie. If the other side of a dune is 34 degrees, what's the other side of a wave in the water?
Hard.
Maybe Reggie will come up and give a so-called answer.
Reggie Roots is a musa good oak. And particularly a couple of days ago, we started somehow, I don't know how it started, with the swear jar. And because sometimes I might say a bad word like cuck or something like that. I mean, that's terrible. You shouldn't say it. Swearing is not good. It just shows a lack of vocabulary, so they say. I think that's also a load of cuck. But anyway, so every time I say a bad word, or a banned word, I've got to put 10 Rand into the jar. And at the end of the Dakar, which is our Dakar, which is Friday, tomorrow's the last racing day. We're going to get onto the actual racing of what's happening right at the moment. There are a couple of people who've agreed to match it. Yesterday, some of the guys made some huge challenges. This is about looking after spaniel dogs, and in particular the spaniel rescue situation. So we're going to put you on the spot there. Yeah. We need a donation from Treasury One and from Henny. Will you help us?
Yeah, I'll put in 2.5.
2,500.
Yes. Yeah, 2,500.
Reggie, job done. I'm out of here. I'll see you next weekend. I've had enough. I've done my job. Cheers, brother.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you what.
Luckily, there's guys that's going to match it. Remember, you said
yes. Now, I think what we should try and do is get some of the Nissan guys, Gary, and possibly Toyota, because that might be very interesting from a Toyota point of view. 2.5 grand. I'll tell you what, the puppies are really going to appreciate it. I've got goosies. Thank you so much. Gary, get your minions to update our jar. Reggie, we're coming for the dogs. We're coming to look at it. But it is day. You've raced in these particular dunes.
Yes.
In this area. Are they any different from other dunes in South America?
Peru's the highest by far, because Peru's got this mountain range underneath the dunes. So the dunes are formed on top of the mountain range. So that's allowed to get much bigger. So obviously the sand forms and it builds and it builds. But because it's got a hard underneath surface, the dunes can be built much higher from a sand perspective. So it's by far the biggest dunes I've ever driven in my life, and as far as it's the biggest ones as well, which makes it so technical because of the wind factor. Because the higher the dunes, you get more wind. It's a different aspect, and then the winds makes all these sharp edges, the slip faces, and also all those little holes. So they are quite tricky.
And the fish. We've tried various ways of describing it, like going into powder or driving into sand smoke. What's your version of it?
Baby powder, a lot of baby powder. Imagine baby powder, when you change that nappy and that thing falls. That's fresh vest. It just disappears. You can't pick it up. It just explodes. So no, it's in a different league, fresh vest. And you once again you got to try and what makes fresh vest so difficult for the cars, especially the later on stages in the car, is when trucks come through. And then they make a path, and their belly plates are much higher than ours. So you easily get stuck on your belly plate. So,
okay.
Yeah, so when you get into those fresh vests, you got to, what Gerard and I did immediately when we saw fresh vest, we got completely out of the route. Sometimes we went through the bushes because you'll get stuck. Just get stuck in fresh vest. And then you got to climb out. And then the most, much worse once you get stuck, the other cars come past you. And they don't give a shit. They just go through this.
There's my jar.
I like that jar. It doesn't work yet.
So, and it sticks to you everywhere?
It doesn't stick to you. It's like, it's a powder. Obviously, it sticks to your face and stuff like that, but it's difficult to recover the car because the jack, your hydraulic jack, just. You got to take out your jack plate, put it underneath, lift the car, take out the sand ladders, because without the sand ladders you won't get any traction, you just go down again. Now imagine this, you lift the car, everything is going well, and you put in your sand tracks, and now luckily the driver gets in and drives off. What does the poor navigator got to do? He's got to find those sand ladders in the fresh vest.
Imagine sometimes they get buried quite deep.
Oh, easily, yes. And you remember you don't leave without them. You'll go back and look for them, even if it takes you 10 minutes, because you get stuck 2 kilometers down the road, and then you don't have sand ladders, so they are critical to your recovery.
What about tying a rope around them so that you can pull them out?
The rope will break because remember your sand ladders will get stuck underneath the sand, and it pushes underneath. And then when you drive away, either the rope will get around the axle, or it will just completely break off.
No, but I'm thinking like a rope that a navigator can just pull to locate them.
No. But the rope, remember, the whole thing goes underneath. Yeah. Then the rope disappears. Then you don't.
There's no easy way.
But there is a rope, but you lose the rope as well.
There's no easy way. So the cars, today's stage is there's a 96 kilometer liaison and 313 kilometers of racing. It's a loop around Pisco. So the guys is the second night that they're going to spend it at Pisco. And going back to yesterday, Gary, you don't have results on the pictures of the result. I believe the Gremlins ate that piece of paper that.
Yeah, they did, but. If you want to, we can read them off the screen.
No, Gary, it's okay. Sebi won, we know that. Yeah. So the dice with NASA was 7 minutes 27 seconds behind. Janelle was 15 minutes 55, and Peter Hansel 31 minutes behind. And those were the interesting ones. And yesterday's result 1, 2, 3, 4 was quite important. So it was Sebi, NASA, Prozgonski, and De Villiers, because the stage this morning started with 4x4. So 4 cars went off at a time on a drag race. Now, I haven't seen the footage of the drag race again, but it would be very interesting to see once again the relative speed of the Toyotas against the BMW and the Peugeot. Word from the camp was that they were very happy with this because NASA and Janelle could back off and run together. Janelle fulfilling a role of team support, of supporter, of carrying, I suppose the term water carrier goes with it. They've gone through waypoint 5 at the moment. But Gary, just from yesterday,
yes.
10 riders withdrew. And that included Stuart Gregory. What happened to them?
Unfortunately, Stuart Gregory retired at the end of stage 7, actually. That was his last registered ride, because during stage 8 he blew the motor. He never made it to the end, so that retired it. There wasn't enough time for them to replace motor, and the penalties.
And also the motor broke early on in the stage, so you couldn't get a tow all the way through.
No, yeah, that's right. And then obviously the team, the lead at that stage on the Honda, which was you got on yesterday's notes?
No, I haven't got bikes because you told me I didn't need to do the notes. No, that was the American Space Check or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's out. unfortunately there. But like I said, we here to talk about South Africans work.
So we
doing
don't
it
care
over-
about Americans.
No,
Only when they run NASCAR.
yeah, no, that's you. It's
Henny,
not
do you
we-
like
yeah.
NASCAR?
I haven't really seen it.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So let's just go back to 3 cars and 2 trucks are out as well. And then news of today, they started 4x4. Right now, the big news of today, of course, is that Stefan Peter Hansel has had to withdraw. And yesterday we discussed the impact. He reported that when they did have an impact off the, you called it the slip face, and they went nose first into the ground, that
Yeah.
he saw stars. And we discussed back and neck injuries. Now they had another little bit of a ding today, and David Castera, his navigator, is in too much pain. So when you're in pain from your back, it's, you can't take a pill. It's your pain is your body's way of saying stop, whatever
Yeah.
you're doing. So they had to withdraw. So Stefan Peter Hansel is out. This will be his first South American Dakar that he doesn't finish.
Really?
He's finished in all the others since 2009, so he doesn't.
Yeah, but the
finish.
sad thing as well, from a South African team point of view, you got Ten Brink, that's
Bernie.
out. Bernie Ten Brink that broke a motor
he
in
got-
gearbox last night.
They got, they were a little bit sort of 2 kilometers off route, and 2 kilometers in the desert, you can't really see that far, Henny.
No, not at all. Yeah. No, when there's big dunes, I mean, you can't see even 100 meters if you're in big dune, busy dunes. So not even to talk about 2 kilometers.
So he's 2 kilometers off route with an issue with the gearbox, and then had an issue with the engine, and then eventually got out, and then it was too late, and big long story, end of story. So Bernie Ten Brink is a non-finisher. So the Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa team is down to 2, NASA the Wild, and Janil the Fast.
Yeah. And then another South African team, the only full South African team driver and co-pilot in the Nissan, that's the
Shamir Variawa.
Unfortunately, they lost all that time, so they become what you call non-starters in the rest of it. They carried on for a couple of days.
But hold on.
In
They're
the South-
officially non-starters in Dakar.
In Dakar, but
they were running in second chance.
Yeah, second chance. All right, last night they went through the Fesh. They hit something pretty badly, damaged the car seriously, had to get eventually towed in very, very slowly, missed all the waypoints, and they decided to call it a day. And then I hear this morning, today, the other Nissan team, which is riding out of Dakar, which is that only reason I mentioned it because that car was built in South Africa.
yeah.
Okay.
Terence's car.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you had some information. They had an incident on the liaison or something.
Liaison, yes, yeah. Looks like they lost the wheel, damaged the front right quite badly, got it repaired. So I just got a message from Terence to say then Thomas had to be medically attended to, but they're back in the car and looks like they'll be able to have a late start and then still hopefully complete the stage.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's after today we've got 112 kilometers of racing. So it's so close to the end, and to have something go wrong, and after the trials and the tribulations of this Dakar, it's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I must tell you that for us, the last day, I think we were also 112, 110 kilometers. And it was interesting. I almost had Gerard telling me every kilometer, it's 110, 109. You just want to get this over. And you're so worried that you're going to cock it up somewhere there. And someone actually did roll it last year on that last stage. Luckily, he got back, wasn't too bad at all. But it was it was a technical stage, it was a rally stage. But you can easily come around a corner, too hot, and then there's a little cliff on the other side, and game over for you. So
Yeah.
And you also start hearing all sorts of noises from the car and thinking that there's something going on with the car.
yeah, but I think with NASA, he's got a big enough gap now. Loeb won't catch him tomorrow. He's got nothing. He can just take it easy. Even Loeb can drive as wild as he wants tomorrow, but he won't. NASA won't lose that much time.
So that gap, Loeb is in. I'm just trying to get a warm up. If we look at on the stage, so Loeb is ahead, and 9 minutes 12 seconds behind is Cyril Dupre, and NASA is 9:34. Now the interesting part is when you go to the general standings of it, Loeb is second, but he's 37 minutes behind NASA. And speaking to some of the people in the Toyota Gazoo South Africa Racing team last night, they were saying it's like breathing razor blades. They are so nervous.
Yeah, anything could happen. He could get stuck. Or could have an engine.
Okay, hold on. Let's not jinx that. We're not going to go if, ands, or maybes. He's driven incredibly well up until now. I think it's been spectacular watching it from the side. Gary, have you got any more news on Dakar that we need to talk about?
Not really, not where it is, because like you say, we're sitting in that everybody's in the middle of the stage right now. The bikes might be coming towards ASS, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't had a look yet, but I will now. But I'm looking for, and I'm hoping the youngster on the bike, the guy from Ross Branch from Botswana, as being the leading South African out there. I hope he does stay in the top 20.
Gary, I've got great news for you.
Yes.
Ross Branch finished the stage 13th today. 15, he's got a 15-minute penalty. No, that's general. So on the stage today, Branch. Where are you, Mr. Branch? There he goes. He was 15th today, 19 minutes and 44 seconds behind Metka in a Sherco 1. So overall, after today, Toby Price on a freaking KTM, and then Quintanolo on another KTM.
Ka-ching.
I meant
Ka-ching.
no, flippin' is not a word.
Ka-ching. No, the one you said before that was a swear word.
No, I didn't say that.
No, that's the thing-a-ling's going.
It's recorded.
Yeah, we've got the audio.
I want an audit. Do you guys do audit function at Treasury One, or is it just?
Not for swear words.
No, but he will do the audit of the ching-ching
I'll
jar.
be in too much shit.
So you would be able to audit if we gave you a trail. You'd be able to audit all the donations.
I just want to make sure those guys that said they'll match the donations, live up to the matching.
Well, you know what? You know what the cool part about it is that we've got the camera, we've got the trail. So Gary, on Wednesday, I'm going to talk to Reggie, the Flying Dutchman, who is going to do a recon, because we don't know what's happening with on the deposit side. All I know is that Reggie sent a thank you to Mr. Who was it? Terry Wilford.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Gary, find that oak.
no,
Who
no,
said
no,
that
no,
if
no.
Wilford is too tight to put 500 Rand in.
It was actually-
Terry, you're a hero. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And not only did he say, he did it.
Yes.
And that's part of the fundraising thing when
I will allow you to dare Terry publicly to match what I'm putting in.
Mr. Wilford, game on, brother.
Oh, I tell you what, there's
And maybe Mr. Aubrey.
who else can you dare?
Roy Aubrey.
Roy Aubrey, yes.
And who else?
How about Glenn?
Glenn Hall.
Mr. Glenn himself.
Yeah, the one and only.
Yes, like I tell you what, at this right.
I guess you got a bit of work to do this evening by getting hold
How
of.
about Gary Burfield?
Yeah, Gary
How
Burhol.
about Anthony? So we got Anthony Taylor, and Leroy. Yeah. Tell that guy to go get dogs because there's more money than dogs.
No, this is for there was a case of of one of the puppies having polvo virus. What?
Reggie.
The dog was Mudavasek. Reggie, send the story and how much it cost just to save the polvo virus dog or whatever it was. The dogs got sick. It was a lot of money. So Reggie did his part, and we're just trying to do a little bit because I rate dogs. They're pretty cool.
But I would say definitely Terry and Roy would definitely match. I'm confident they'll match what I'm putting in.
Well, game on.
There you go. I
Game on.
absolutely love that. So we've gone through the bike side of it.
Yes.
Layla Saints is in 11th, which I think is absolutely magnificent. And Anastasia Nifontana is the first woman rookie. Got to think of my mind went blank a little bit there, Gary. Got to think of the terminology. So before we start waffling and doing all those other good things, I need to just go back to your Wi-Fi is actually really, really incredible here. Hey?
We live in the cloud.
And while he's looking, just a quick hi to Gerald Skitter, David White, how are you? Jan Pinner, thanks for listening. Greg Charman, yes, I did get the video, and we'll play it a bit later as an insert after the show. Roy Prondo says Lobus stopped now. You're going to have to check that out. Terry Wolford's online, Paul Woodward, Troy Cochran, and Greg Charman. Very interesting. I sent a video of the drag race. Sorry, I saw that second time. Sorry for reading it twice. And your text predictions. Don't worry about text predictions. Just deposit the money.
Right, so Loeb is stopped. He's had to stop for over 20 minutes on the dunes. He's back on the move now, but the win is in jeopardy. So that's after waypoint 5, before the arrival of the special stage. But we've said countless times before that this is a race of patience. We can't sit and watch because the guys start at different gaps and there's different timing. So the minute the timing uploads, look, let's just chill out with that. It's mega, and I'm also breathing razor blades along with some of the other teams. Henny, you elected not to do Dakar this year, but you going to Morocco. Talk to us briefly about the Morocco race.
Yeah, so the Morocco Desert Challenge, April from the 13th to the 20th, 8 days, 8 stages, 3,000 kilometers, only racing kilometers, there's no liaisons. It's obviously a bit different from the Dakar. And I know we earlier spoke about the liaisons. I think there is method in the madness for the liaisons.
Tell us the your version of
the madness.
of the
The
madness
of the
that are these
liaison.
long liaison stages. Why?
Yeah. And if I take our race last year, so 10,000 kilometers, 5,000 racing kilometers, 5,000 liaison. This year it's 3,000 racing and 2,000 liaison. Okay, but those 5,000 kilometer liaison last year, as you come, so what they'll typically do, they'll start you in the morning in the bivouac. Then you'll do, I saw obviously with the Dakar now as well, they start you in the bivouac, give you a long liaison to get to the racing section. Because remember, most of those bivouacs are close to town. You can't really start racing in a town because, the top guys all want to sleep in a good bed, and that kind of stuff. It's only our privateers which camp and sleep in a tent. And so they take you out of town, 100, 200 kilometers, and then you'll do a racing section, and then they'll give you liaison again at the end. But the liaison is part of making you tired. So you can imagine you've already done 200 kilometers before you start racing. The 200 kilometers are done at 110 kilometers maximum per hour. And to do 200, 300, or 400 kilometers in a race car at 110 kilometers an hour, it's boring. There's no music, the aircon is there, but you're sitting like this, there's no sleeping, it's uncomfortable. It's amazing how uncomfortable a race car is when it doesn't race.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But you've got a speed control. You didn't have iPods plugged into the intercom system?
We did. We were very fortunate and unfortunate. It worked both ways.
Because you got to decide who chooses the playlist.
Or the navigator, whoever. So Gerard and I swapped always. So we tried to, as soon as we get out of the stage and there's a liaison, we would swap. I would not navigate. I would sit in the navigator and he will drive. Then I'll get us something to eat. We always got to eat, a little box with snacks with you. They give it to you in the bivouac in the morning. So then, I'll see what's the lucky draw. It's like a brown packet. You don't know what's in it. But there will be crisp and cold drink and some,
biscuits
and that kind of stuff, and a bit cheese, So here I was spreading cheese, in the race car, all strapped in, giving it to Gerard, Then it would fall between his legs, and I said, I'm not picking that up. You can take that out, So, and kind of stuff. So it's a bit of fun, but it's tiring. And then I think the other thing, getting back to the music, so we could only, for some reason, get Gerard's phone through Bluetooth. And Gerard had his playlist, but 5,000 kilometers.
Same playlist?
Well, we went through his music, I think, probably 6 or 7 times. And eventually, okay, this is the next song coming.
Did he have,
he only had so many songs.
Did he have Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline on there?
No, unfortunately, I don't think so. Yes, I can't remember that one, yeah. But getting back to your liaisons, that tires you out, and especially after the race. But often would happen, we'll do the race section, and then we'll have a 300 kilometer or 400 kilometer. That's after you've raced. Now you got 400 kilometers, tired and gutful you are there. You just want to get to the bivouac. But then you finished maybe at 3 o'clock, 400 kilometers. It's 5 to 6 hours. You're going to get there at 9 tonight. So you've finished racing. There is nothing in it. You just got to, but it makes you tired. It tires the car. Then you're getting into the bivouac at 9. Then the mechanic can only start working on the car. It's all part of the long game of tiring.
So the sleep deprivation is a Dakar tactic.
Yes, absolutely. Sleep, and obviously the less you sleep, the less you concentrate, the more mistakes you make. And Dakar's tough. It's not there for sissies. Now we about 40% of the people are completing from a starting point of view, and I like that kind of result, because Dakar is not meant for every car to finish. What will be great about that if all 135 cars finished? They'll say, no, when you want to do Dakar because it's tough.
Yeah.
It's like the epic. It's like the Iron Man. You do it because it's tough. It's not because it's easy, and it mustn't be easy. So I like I like the format.
That's actually a very interesting take on it, that the tougher it is, the greater the challenge, and also the greater the mental, I suppose, fortitude or strength that you need to complete the event.
Yeah, and definitely. You've got to think about this is an 11-day game. It's not a 1-day or 3-day game. It's not ODI. This is proper.
This is test racing.
This is test racing.
Right, so Morocco, you got about 3,000 racing stages, but very short liaison stages. You look like you should be at the sharp end of the field.
Yeah, it's so this Morocco one, the one that's in April, it's only privateers, so no works team, so no, you can drive a works car, but you're not allowed to be a seated driver, so a professional driver, and you can't have a works team competing, only privateers. So we're 185 cars that have entered the T1 class, that the Dakar equivalent of T1.
Just say that again, 185.
185 cars. I don't think probably, let's say 85 of the 185 are probably proper race built cars, that compete at this level. There's a lot of cars, but I mean, it's still, if you get stuck in the dunes, and imagine there's 185 cars, they're going to go through a certain section. If you have a problem and you're at the back, you're going to be facing a lot of cars in front of you, even though they might not be all, the latest and greatest, but it's still 185 cars. So it's over 540 total, so cars, bikes, quads, side-by-sides and trucks. So it's a big field. It's technically bigger than the Dakar from a number of entrants point of view. So it's a big race.
And when does your car leave?
So yeah, end of February, we ship to Spain. It's about 3-4 week window to ship to Spain. Then we get the car in Spain. Then we drive it across the ferry into obviously Morocco. I'm thinking about the border. Can't remember the border post. And then we go down another 1,000 kilometers to drive the car down to Agadir, and we start in Agadir. So the first 3 days we do scrutineering, doing paperwork and stuff like it, and on the 13th of April we start in Agadir, and that's at 220 kilometers. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, that there's a big crash last year with Thomas Oresnicek. That was on the prologue, 25 kilometers on the beach, flat out. And he obviously hit the ditch, where he was almost like Stefan or Peter or Ten Brinker, which he wasn't on the route. It was a bit off the route, and then the caution, you didn't see the caution. That massive crash with his Ford. But
That was huge, that.
Yes, yeah, massive. And that's the prologue. So to determine your starting position for the real. So that 25 kilometers flat out on the beach.
It sounds blooming exciting, and we're going to see what we can do. Gary, how cool would it be if we could go to Morocco? I think it would be fantastic. We've got to tell you what, Gary, you get our production people onto it.
Negotiations are in progress.
That's so lekker. Gary, have you got anything else before we? I mean, I see we've got a car in, the first car in, and this says nothing. Is NASA? All it means is that NASA's beaten Sebi and Przgonski and De Villiers.
He's only first on the road. He might not be the fastest in time.
Exactly. All it says is that he's ahead of those three guys.
Most important, it's finished. He's safe.
Yes.
He's in. So they can look at the car, prepare for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing. He's in. The time is irrelevant.
Interesting take there, Henny, and just an interesting focus that you've got there, where focus on the race result, not on, you don't have to win everything, you've got to win the race.
Yes, yeah. Just get it done in a good time, and get back, and also bring the car back in a decent, because the damage of today will affect you tomorrow. You might survive it today, but the mechanics might not see it. You might have, hurt the gearbox or, side shaft, and they might not see it because it's not obvious. But if you drive it too hard, that damage will catch up with you, down the line, tomorrow or the day later.
Yeah.
Now, talking about damage, and particularly financial damage, Treasury One, you do all sorts of things, and it would be amiss of us not to tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I think for most people out there that will watch this, and what we do is we're in the foreign exchange market. It's probably the easiest way to explain that part of our business. We do some other stuff as well, but the mainstream thing that we do is we help companies and people to buy currency you know, either for importers or exporters to sell currency. So we look at the rand, we look at how can we get the guys a better rate to help them better hedge. It's not just about a better rate from your bank, you know, that's part of it, you know, but the main thing is, why are you importing? When do you need to hedge? Where's the rand going to go?
Where is the rand going?
I'll tell you next week. You know?
After
If
this
I
game.
knew, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'll be having my own team in Dakar.
So next week you're going to tell us what it does this week.
Yes, exactly. What he did. Yes.
Clever man. Gary, anything else from your side?
Yeah, just from Reggie, just to give you an idea, the 4 puppies, parvo virus, okay, it cost him 44,000 rand to treat those 4 puppies. So it gives you, guys, that your money is going to a good cause. Yeah.
Let's not go there because
I will leave that between you and Reggie, okay?
guys,
now, besides that, don't forget tomorrow night, guys.
what's happening tomorrow night, Gary?
We're just down the road here.
Where are we, Gary?
We're going to Moda Burgers and
Moto, Burgers, Beer and Silicon.
it could be.
And
I know
Unobtainium.
the first 3 are there.
And Unobtainium.
Yeah,
And carbon fibre.
in Linwood there's a lot of unobtainium.
And do they allow duct tape in it in
Yeah, you
Linwood?
can bring it with you. But
And
we're
Tyrex.
we're going to be live from there. Those of you that live in Pretoria want to come and join us, please come and join us. Pull in, have a chat with us, come and talk with us, ask us your questions. We will have Ted Barbier. He's coming along as our guest tomorrow night. Unfortunately, Calvin something has cropped up. He cannot make it tomorrow night, but we will be doing an interview with Calvin on our Friday show.
And we've got to have where are we going to be Friday, Gary? Oh, I think we're going to be at the World Class Racing Team's headquarters.
That's correct.
We're going to be at the workshop, Stewie's workshop. Now, Stewie looks after your car, but the car's not there. Where's it gone?
Yeah, it's in Namibia. It's in Walvis.
Thing travels a bit.
Yeah, gets around, eh? Yeah. So we are doing some more training. Last training camp in Namibia. So we'll be there tomorrow, flying there tomorrow morning. So we'll start tomorrow afternoon. We'll be Dune 7, lowering Dune 7 a little bit. And then, Friday and Saturday, Lauberville, and then so my plan is Friday and Saturday do a 300-kilometer stretch each day from Lauberville into those big dunes, 150 in, 150 out, or out and in, and then So and Leani May is there, so we will be Dakar training with Leani May.
Good luck with that, Absolutely fantastic. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Henny, thank you for your hospitality and for opening up and sharing your Dakar experiences. It's I always learn when we talk. It's absolutely fantastic. And tomorrow night, Moto in Linwood, burgers, beer and silicon at what time, Gary?
1800 hours, 6 o'clock, 6 uur. 6 namiddag. 6 namiddag. There we go.
Thanks a lot for watching, guys.
Cheers.
We're out of here. Cheers.
Thanks.